we're almost there in the procedure, Stan, and we see the same thing.
In Integrity Houston, we are seeing a 7-second miscompare between the MET on Orion and ICPS. We'd like you to read us the MET from your center status bar and for the ICPS on StackSum.
And Stan, we see a absolutely precise alignment. MET 25, 14, 15, 16, precisely aligned with ICPS MET.
Copy. Thank you for that. We'll investigate a ground issue.
And Houston Integrity, ATO preferred set.
Copy. ATO preferred.
This is Mission Control Houston, 25 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight of Artemis 2. We have confirmation that all 4 solar array wings are deployed and latched. This is the configuration needed to switch to ATO preferred, which you did hear confirmed from pilot Victor Glover. That mode has been switched. There's also a discussion with Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reed Wiseman about the alignment of the MET clocks on the Orion spacecraft and the ICPS. Commander Reed Wiseman confirmed the clocks are in sync, no issues. They're going to investigate it on the ground. We're proceeding with today's mission. 26 minutes of mission elapsed time and counting. This is Mission Control Houston. We're approaching 28 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. At this point, we've had a successful liftoff from the pad at 5:35 p.m. and 12 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. We've had a good main engine cutoff, core stage separation, and a good trajectory to begin today's mission. Right now, the spacecraft has maneuvered tail to sun. We're standing by for another maneuver to maneuver into the burn attitude. This is where the RL-10 engine of the ICPS is pointed in the correct orientation for the perigee raise maneuver. We did hear confirmation that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition has been confirmed per the pad, which means it was the predicted time prior to liftoff.
Integrity for GNC, we're taking channel 1 to unfiltered and to BFS.
Okay, Stan, we're watching. Go ahead.
Capcom Stan Love reading up to the crew of Integrity. They will switch the navigation source from channel 1, standing by for confirmation that that switch has occurred. Pilot Victor Glover will receive confirmation when and is at least watching to confirm that switch has occurred. Again, the perigee raise maneuver that we're heading towards, not too long from now, we're actually inside 20 minutes at this time from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. We did have a successful deployment and launched of all 4 solar array wings. This is the configuration needed to commit to the perigee raise maneuver. Of course, flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston will continue to evaluate that everything is good before committing to that burn. The perigee raise maneuver does raise the perigee, the lowest point in the orbit, from 15 to 100 nautical miles. The 100 nautical mile mark is needed to continue in low Earth orbit and hit the target for the apogee raise burn. That will put them in a high Earth orbit for the remainder of the day and set them up for the right position to execute the translunar injection and head to the moon tomorrow. The burn duration of the perigee raise maneuver is 26 seconds. A relatively short burn, but it does raise the perigee and do the job to get into the correct position before firing that main engine on the ICPS. The pad had a TEDRS handover. This is the tracking and data relay satellites. East to west, they are geosynchronous satellites that are positioned around the globe. And as Orion makes its way around the Earth right now, above the west coast of Africa, at an altitude of about 923 statute miles, and counting. The perigee raise maneuver is not executed at the perigee. It is rather executed on the, actually closer to the apogee. But what it does is it raises the perigee on the other end of the orbit to 100 nautical miles. The 26-second duration burn does not conflict with the time that they've reported of the tracking and data relay satellite handover from TEDRS east to west. Again, geosynchronous satellites that are used not only by Integrity today, but the International Space Station as well. That time of handover is 51 minutes, 26 seconds. Plenty of margin before the perigee raise maneuver cutoff happens, and the trajectory is analyzed to see whether it was a good burn. A good burn means that the burn was performed as expected and sets the trajectory on course for that 100 nautical mile perigee target mark. Again, for those sticking with us on NASA Plus and following along on our coverage, we will continue to follow and to cover the mission until, actually, we'll continue to cover the mission 24/7. But we'll wrap up our coverage here shortly. And now that solar array wing deployment has occurred on NASA Plus and Amazon Prime. Again, we will continue coverage 24/7 at the NASA YouTube channel. For those that want to see all of the upcoming milestones, there are select times where we will be coming back to NASA Plus and other streaming platforms. You can go to nasa.gov to find the latest on when to find those activities. Given that this is an operational mission, we do want to make sure that we are maintaining transparency in the mission and providing you all the information on what's happening in space as Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen head on their mission around the moon. Inside Integrity at this time. Again, the solar array wings have deployed. The Integrity is maneuvering to its burn attitude ahead of the execution of the perigee raise maneuver. Overseeing these steps is primarily done by Commander Reed Wiseman and Pilot Victor Glover. Mission Specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen focusing on some of the system activation inside of Orion, namely the environmental and control and life support systems. The activation and checkout of some of these critical systems are very important to continuing on the mission, making sure that those systems are in a good condition and in a reliable condition to provide the necessary environmental and control needs of the crew, with humans on board through the duration of the mission that extends 10 flight days. We're standing by for an update to the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition. Should be read up to the crew very shortly.
Integrity Houston, updated PRM numbers when you're ready to copy.
All right, Houston, we are ready to copy.
TIG is 2 seconds earlier at 4 minutes 48 seconds. TIGO unchanged at 26 seconds.
49, 48, TIGO 26.
This is Mission Control Houston. With that update, we are approaching a little more than 13 minutes from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. That time updated to be 2 seconds earlier was 49 minutes 50 seconds of mission elapsed time. We'll now move to 49 minutes 48 seconds. The duration of the burn, that's what was referred to as the TGO, will still remain at 26 seconds. Relatively short duration burn, again, just raises the perigee of the orbit today. Making sure they hit the mark on that time of ignition is the primary concern of Commander Reed Wiseman and Pilot Victor Glover. Mission Specialist Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen inside activating those environmental control and life support systems. At this time, all 4 crew members are wearing the launch and entry suits.
Integrity Houston, for Optimus on the PCD, we have time update instructions when you're ready.
And Houston, Integrity, we copy. Hands are pretty busy at this time. I think we will call you back when we're ready for that.
All right, that one is not urgent. 2 minutes to maneuver to PRM attitude.
We are watching and concurred. 90 seconds-ish, maybe.
Pilot Victor Glover confirming that maneuver less than 2 minutes. Again, that the point of that maneuver is to point the main engine of the ICPS, the RL-10 engine, in the proper orientation to execute that 26-second burn. It needs to point in the correct position to achieve the goal of raising the perigee to 100 nautical miles. You heard some of the environmental control system activations over Orion to Earth. Jeremy Hansen activated the O2 sensors. They'll be measuring the cabin of Orion. During all of the activations, here on the ground in Mission Control Houston, Flight Director Judd Freeling is doing a poll with all flight controllers in the room to see if we are in a go position to go ahead and execute the perigee raise maneuver. Once concluded, Stan Love will report it back up to the crew, and we'll stand by for that.
Integrity Houston, MCC polls go for PRM pending attitude and saws.
Hey, we copy. MCC is go. Maneuver starting.
40 minutes of mission elapsed time. The maneuver to the burn attitude has begun. The maneuver also is paired with reorientation of the solar array wings that have been deployed. They will have various positions throughout the duration of the flight. Of course, solar array is meant to maximize the draw of power from the sun. So when deployed, we're in a biased solar array wing configuration that was called solar normal. This allows for the greatest surface area of the solar array wings to be drawing power and powering up those batteries of integrity, of which a cross-tie was enabled between the four batteries, the four battery buses that are inside of Orion. However, for the perigee raise maneuver, the solar array wings will be put into a position to take on the loads imparted by the ICPS main engine when they execute the 26-second burn. You can see in the animation here, the solar array wings are in motion, and the attitude is being reconfigured to point the engine in the correct direction, those solar array wings being pointed forward. You're getting a live look inside the Artemis 2 mission flight control room. The team you see here oversaw the ascent of our four astronauts inside Integrity, launching at 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Now again, this room will be occupied 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with flight controllers shifting on 3 shifts to oversee 24/7 operations of Artemis 2 while in flight. We will cover that live on the NASA YouTube channel, and we'll be covering that around the clock as we begin to wrap up our coverage here on NASA Plus. Before I do want to send it over to our colleagues at the Kennedy Space Center. And to my colleagues, it was a pleasure to join the teams at the Kennedy Space Center and be a part of such a historic launch. Here in Houston, again, we're turning our attention to the mission. And for now, we'll say farewell and thank you to our colleagues there for today's launch coverage. We'll see you again soon for Splashdown. This is Mission Control Houston, sending it back over to Megan and Nicole at the host desk.
Thank you, Gary. And yes, it was such a pleasure to be a part of this historic mission that started right here at Kennedy Space Center. It was such an amazing sight to be a part of. And now, as Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey, we here at the Kennedy Space Center are about to wrap our broadcasts. We'll, of course, though, have 24/7 coverage with our colleagues at Johnson Space Center starting as soon as we sign off, so don't worry. You can follow along our 4 astronauts every minute of their nearly 10-day journey to the moon and back. Nicole, I'll definitely be watching it, and I'm sure you will, too.
Yes, of course. You know, they just started, right? The launch was beautiful. This was a historic day. They're on their way back to the moon for the first time in over half a century, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them, and so we're excited to see what they have to do and excited to test out the Orion spacecraft. This is a test flight after all, and we're excited to see what we can learn from this mission.
Very humbling, inspiring. It was really amazing to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that so many people joined along by either watching here in person or watching online. And of course, Nicole, thank you so much for sitting through this, answering questions, adding so much context and information that really brought a lot out of what we saw today.
Oh man, I had a blast. You're a rock star. You're a professional.
Gosh,
this was great.
Oh, you're great.
So this was a wonderful day.
Well, again, thank you so much, and thank you to you for watching at home. You know, tonight we didn't just launch a rocket, we launched the next chapter of human exploration. Our Artemis 2 crew now on their way back to the moon, and we're taking you with us. So thank you again for watching, and go Artemis 2. All 4 astronauts, and it appears all of them are undergoing their suit leak checks. Yes, a pre-flight tradition that we have seen with our crewed flights, the card game. The astronauts who have just left crew suit up and are now walking down a hallway. And here they are, NASA's Artemis 2 crew, taking their first steps outside for their historic test flight. And the 4 of them step into their astrovan. And off they go.
NASA's Artemis 2 is the first